Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Live number 194 for the 24th of March, 2021. Still on our way through the new year, and it's just disappearing faster than I would hope it would. It's amazing how fast time is flying. But we've got a great show for you tonight, and with us, as always, we have Mr. Casey Green joining us from the DC area. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Just got my first shot.
That's good to hear. Good to hear.
Very cool. Yeah.
Mr. Patrick joins us from the West Coast, Oregon area. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, and I'm wearing my "all input is error" shirt.
The Elon quote.
Yes, a nice Elon quote, and even funnier out of context. Yeah. So yeah, shout out to Dr. Know-It-All. This is from his channel. He cited my blog in one of his What is Project Dojo article. So I'll return the favor with a plug here and plug his merchandise also.
Very good. Very good. Well, this week, no surprise, still a ton of information flows out every week at Tesla. It never stops. And this week is no exception. So let's get to the news. First news item we want to talk about this week is that the UK has dropped Tesla from its EV incentive. They
sneaky.
Yeah, and it was in a bit of a surprise move because, of course, the Model 3 is the number one selling EV in the UK, and they decided that it was, it was said this was not said officially, but unofficially. It looks like Tesla was taking too much of the EV incentive from other manufacturers, and they decided to rewrite the rules slightly to disallow Tesla from participating in this incentive. So they just moved a bit of a shell game, moved things around just a little bit price-wise, that Tesla no longer qualifies.
Yeah,
now,
they
what was
went a
nice
little far,
to see,
and it's not even just Tesla at this point. It's pretty much any long-range EV because they cut it down.
They certainly, and that's certainly the case. But what they've done is have they stifled the market in that case? If they've taken away all the long-range EV incentive, is that going to slow down or certainly hurt the EV market when it comes to the UK? What do you guys think?
I would think if they don't have a T on the hood, then yeah. I mean, because they took it down from a maximum of 50,000 pounds to a maximum of 35,000 pounds. There are no long range. I mean, not none, but there are not any compelling EVs over 300 miles range at that price point.
Yeah. Well, hasn't that been the problem with all EV markets? If Tesla's in the market and they are competing within that market, they're dominating it. They've got, 75, 80% of the sales in almost any country you could pick where there is a competitive base between the Model 3 and another car. Tesla is taking, 7 to 8 out of 10 of those sales.
Yeah. So are they hoping that there's a local UK EV startup that's going to just arrive? Because
I can't see how they could be hoping that because, of course, those things don't happen overnight. Yeah,
right.
The
closest you get. Sorry.
There's no chance that something can appear overnight.
Exactly.
So they've got to know they're pushing people towards a inferior car, is what they're doing.
Right.
Lowering the price point to the point where they can only get a medium or a low-range vehicle.
Right.
You're going to possibly, sure, people could get it. Yes, they're spending less. They get the discount. They may be happy with that in the beginning. But once you own an EV for a little while and you start to realize that you need more range, you're going to be pretty upset that you've got a vehicle that can't do what you want it to do in certain cases.
Yeah, I mean, because all the ones that people want are Korean, U.S., German, and French, and none of those are UK.
Yeah, there's a reason that one of the things we often say on this show is when you're shopping for an EV, buy all the range you can afford. And if you're like, oh, should I get the medium or the long range? You should get the long range, because the more range you have, the more you can drive it, the more you can take it to places. You instead of finding some alternative, the less you have to worry about, did I accelerate too quickly? Did I drive too fast on the freeway? Is it winter and my regen is low, or I had the heat on? It just, a big battery gets rid of all of that, and that's what really makes it a fun and exciting car. And if instead you're buying something that just barely meets your needs, and then you have a year of degradation in your battery pack, and now you can't even do that. That's just a very unsatisfying owner experience, and that's exactly what this incentive is pushing towards people towards. And for some people, a short-range vehicle is great. I had a 40-mile range EV for several years, and that was twice what I needed for my commute, so I could run a few errands on the way home. And as long as I kept it in that domain, it worked great. But I'm not going to drive to some other city, or, I mean, even going across the other suburbs of Portland was too far. So if you use it in the right spot, any vehicle can be great. But this incentive, what I'm hoping is that eventually we get to a point where EVs don't need incentives. And right now, they absolutely do, because gas vehicles have huge incentives. About $12,000 US is subsidized for every gas car that's sold in the fuel cost over its lifespan. And people just don't see it that way. So the $7,500 incentive that we had in the US for Tesla vehicles actually saved the government money long term. But that's not how it's viewed. That's not how it's projected. That's certainly not how the people who are who want to hate on EVs paint that picture.
Yeah, and in the UK they still have. I mean, they have less of a incentive for fossils there, but it's still there. It's worldwide. But then they also have another detractor that hurts both the short range concept and the whole, hey, we've got more chargers per area. They have a higher percentage of multifamily dwellings than single-family homes without dedicated parking. Right. So now these people have to go multiple times to the public charger.
Yeah,
more
instead
trips
of going once a week, they have to go
more charging. Yeah,
that would be a big pain.
Right. So the only people who can afford to have a short range already have a house, and at that point they can afford the long range battery without the incentive. So now you're
how ironic.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're really incentivizing the wrong people in that sense. You would like it to be more affordable for people that really couldn't purchase the car without the incentive. Give them the best experience they can with a longer battery. You're just kind of taking that away.
Exactly. And I'm sure the Tesla will find a way around it again, just like they always do. So that they're just hurting their own people.
Yep.
Well, we'll have to watch that UK situation to see if it changes as time goes along. Will Tesla find another way? Maybe they will sell a vehicle that, maybe they can skirt the rules like they did here in Ontario by selling a vehicle that's locked. No one really buys that vehicle. They buy the one with the extra large battery and still get the incentive. I'm not sure if that's the case as it sits in the UK, but that's a solution they used here in Ontario.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Next story, let's talk a little bit about the Model S refreshes. They're starting to show up on car carriers. So last week we saw some pictures of the pools of Model S's kind of stuffed around the back of the Fremont factory. I don't even know why they try to hide them, because of course there's 100,000 drones buzzing that plant every hour. So there's no need. If they put it outside, they're going to be spotted. But anyways, this group of Model S's was spotted. It was brought out to the truck loading center, and they loaded a bunch of them on a couple of semis, and those semis left the Fremont factory. No word as to where those semis have actually gone. Have they gone to LA or somewhere close? We don't know. Are these actual customer cars? A number of the cars could be spotted through the windshield, showing there were the round steering wheels in them. The yokes were not spotted in this particular batch. And of course, we have heard things about the yoke not being quite approved yet in certain jurisdictions. The DOT is looking at the evidence or the documentation that Tesla has provided them. I'm not sure if there's been an actual ruling on that.
I think that's
have you
what it
guys heard
really
any
is.
different?
We've heard rumors, but I don't think we've heard anything like with an actual attribution to it. I find it really hard to believe that a company as large as Tesla, that's been making cars for almost 20 years now, would make such a admitted mistake of selling stuff that they don't think would be approved.
They don't think could be approved, or
Yeah.
or would be possibly they didn't have their T's crossed and their I's dotted before they started shipping cars or
'Cause
making.
they got to order the parts and get
Yeah.
them. You got to order them by the pallet load. So
But of course, if there is an issue with this, I could see that Tesla could certainly ship somebody a round steering wheel and then install the yoke at a later time. Not sure if that's as simple as it sounds. Or
Yeah,
not.
they've done that with the carbon fiber spoilers, for example. Early on in the
Yeah.
Model 3, they said, well, ship it, we'll fix it later, or we'll send that part out later.
But
Yeah.
the question then becomes: Is it steer by wire? Is it a progressive rate steering ratio? Or
Well, I would definitely say that if it's a yoke, I think Tesla knew that they'll have people that wouldn't want the yoke. So I bet you
Right.
it's a simple switch in that car as to whether or not it's a yoke steering wheel or a regular round steering wheel. And they probably just flip a switch in the software. And if there is a steering ratio modification, that switch would handle it. That would be my guess.
or you get to pay for a new steering rack if it's a physical thing.
Oh, that would not be good.
I'll just keep the
Yeah.
yoke, because if it only turns this much,
Yeah.
then there's no need for a round wheel.
Yeah. But if you have to spin the yoke multiple times,
That would suck. So what I think would be funny is if it is hard coded for a yoke, and then you've got a steering wheel that just doesn't go all the way around.
That would still work.
It would work.
it would. Yeah, it'll work.
Lock to lock. They lock it like 3 times. Lock to lock. Lock to lock. Half a turn.
Yeah. The round steering wheel only turns a quarter, and that's
Yeah.
a full turn.
Well, they've already got steering settings in the software for comfort or sport. They
Right.
could certainly take it to this as well, yeah.
Yeah, you could just add a yoke option. So
Yeah.
regular comfort yoke.
You must be yoking.
You must be yoking. Oh my gosh, that's bad. What did the chat room think of that joke? Anyone responded to that one?
They haven't said anything
Bad
nothing yet,
jokes.
but
Bad.
they do want to know still if we have heard about the CO2 refrigerant on the Model Y.
I have not.
still
I
have not
prompted
heard back.
one of my connections, and they had no idea. Said they would look into it, but
Excellent.
right at this point, I do not have an answer.
I'll tell you what I did get from my contacts. Guess what this is?
It's a package.
Yes, it's a package. But guess what's in the package?
What's that? What is that? What is that?
It's the icebreaker
Oh,
Icebreaker.
for the Model
Yes.
X.
for the Model X. And then
Yeah.
I got a little gift from Testbox. I haven't opened it yet. I'm going to put it on a video.
Cool.
Yes.
So looking at the chat, though, I do see there's at least one brilliant person in there. And
At least.
it's Coach DA, who completely agrees that what the UK is doing is wrong, and incentivizing people to go for small batteries is the wrong way. So, yeah.
Well, we've seen the UK make a lot of mistakes lately, so.
Very good. Also happened this week is the company Idra, IDRA. They were kind of showcasing some of the materials that they make, and of course they are responsible for manufacturing of the Giga press that Tesla currently uses, a 6,000 ton Giga press, and the video that they put out recently was of their 8,000 ton press that they display in a video. Very nice. It's actually even white and red in color. And they didn't actually in the video
It was the shakedown.
they did not say it was a Tesla that was using their product, but it's pretty obvious that based on the tonnage figures that Elon quoted directly, 8,000 ton press that will be used for the Cybertruck. And of course, Tesla already using the Idra 6,000 ton press, that most likely this is the press that will be installed at Gigafactory, Texas. So we have a link in the notes that you can go watch their video. Obviously, it's not all that exciting, but it is interesting to see the actual size and girth of this particular piece of machinery that will be installed shortly, if not being already at Gigafactory, Texas.
Yeah. I bet you it was just like right before they took it apart and put it on the trucks. It's like here it is.
But that was smart of the supplier. So if you're a supplier, you can say, "Hey, here's our new product, and we have a customer," but not mention the customer's name. That's up to the customer to make that release. And how many times have we seen suppliers do that kind of stuff, and then it backfires on them, or their customer gets angry at them, or you disclosed something that you weren't supposed to. This deal was under NDA, blah blah blah. So this is just smart. Best practices by
best way to do it,
manufacturer. Yeah,
certainly the president of Idra just kept things under wrap. He just, he could release information about what his product was. He just didn't necessarily have to release who he sold it to.
Right, but it's not a leap of logic for us to say, Musk has said we're getting an 8,000 ton press, and then this company that supplies our current one says we're making an 8,000 ton press. It's not. We're not tinfoil hat. It's not. Investigation.
And the livery is their exact color.
That's the other thing. It's completely red and white, and it's like, is that? I wonder if that was Hydra's colors before they started selling to Tesla. We should go back and look in the bit. They were probably blue and yellow.
I thought they were blue.
Selling Tesla. But now the new model, it's definitely white and red. So certainly a nice fit for Tesla for sure.
Absolutely. Well, at least they didn't get in trouble like Kia and Apple did. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Keep your mouth shut because you want to keep that contract. It's worth. If you blow the contract, it's worth nothing. So
worth less than nothing because now you got to pay your fees.
Yeah. Like everyone jumping ahead and trying to have the chicken before the egg is not a good scenario for a company. Certainly, financially, it doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, worst case is you just ask your customer, "Can we do a joint announcement, please?"
Yeah. And when they say no, you do what Idra does, and you just go to the edge, but don't cross it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next, we talked about this I guess it's about 2.5 months, 10 weeks or so ago. We talked about that hacker who was offering a Tesla employee, allegedly at that point, $1 million to take some information, to load some data on inside a computer at Tesla Nevada and Gigafactory Nevada. And that employee, of course, as we know, promptly went to their supervisor. They got the FBI involved, and a sting operation began when they started to collect information to try to set up meetings with this person about this transaction he wanted to do with a Tesla employee that he thought was going to be rogue. And it ended up in him making a dash for the airport to try to escape the country. Law enforcement tracked him down before he got on a plane and put him under arrest. That particular person has now pleaded guilty to the charge. So we don't have to use alleged anymore. He has now pleaded guilty to the charge, and sentencing will commence at some point in the near future.
Yes, the admitted hacker.
Yeah,
he tried to socially engineer a Tesla employee, and it backfired big time.
Big time, yeah.
I'm really curious, how much did he think he could extort from Tesla? If he's willing to offer this person $1 million, then he must think he's getting at least $2 million worth to make it. I mean,
do they need?
Yeah, what information could they have stole? How would they have got this money from Tesla?
I mean, if you're taking it to Russia, I mean, you can just make your Russian copy better. You don't necessarily need to get anything from Tesla for it.
Oh, that's
It could have been espionage, and the fact that someone just wanted certain software pieces,
like
and
we're going to
copy it. Yeah, exactly. Put in some of their own code and come up with something that looks slightly different, but all the work's already been done for them. So But definitely a high stakes game, and it did not work out for this person. And I've got to believe that when this happens once at Tesla, or they get wind of these type of incursions that are trying to get into their software, they must spend a ton on security, trying to figure out what's the next move going to be. How do we need to block future groups trying to do this? It must be, you probably have your own security division now that's working overtime, trying to figure out how to put things in place and maybe compartmentalized software and access so that these type of large failures will not happen, and you can keep the wrong people out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this sounds like a made-for-TV movie, though. I mean, even the guy's name, Igor Kryzhkov, it sounds like right out of Central Casting.
But then at the same time, Elon brought up a good point that the Tesla employees do get a fair share of stocks. So they probably don't want to see the company take a large fall right before they can sell the stock.
It would hit their pocketbooks based on the stock price. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime you work somewhere, you think you would only work someplace that you work there because you believe in their mission and you'll be loyal to them. And that something like this, I would hope that any Tesla employee, whether they're getting a fat load of stock or not, would make sure that they talk to the FBI.
Oh yeah, I wasn't suggesting they wouldn't. I was saying that they have extra
Yeah.
skin in the game.
Exactly.
Extra motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, let's move on to Europe. And Casey's got a story for us about an update to a Tesla plant.
I sure do. It's one of my favorite ones too. Get this over here real quick. We had a story about China I'm losing track of. So the Tilburg plant, it's a final assembly plant in Europe, is going to be shutting down because it's no longer necessary and also no longer possible. Because of the changes they made to the Model S and Model X, they can no longer ship knockdown units to this plant to get put back together because they are Giga pressed. So they don't fit in a flat pack box anymore because they're all one piece. Also because Berlin is almost finished, so it was extra strategic to quit while they're ahead. They have been offered, the employees there have been offered other positions, and hopefully as many of them as possible are able to stick with the company.
Yeah, Tesla's definitely growing in other parts of the world that aren't too far from there, so.
Yes. And with that, it also ties back to our... I was wondering, when we were planning the show, I was wondering if this had anything to do with the UK's retaliation on the incentives.
Interesting.
Yeah, this plant was in the Netherlands, so not really UK territory, but
right.
And what they were doing there was really a repackaging, right? It wasn't. It was putting assembly of some parts.
Final assembly. So
yeah.
You install some body panels, you install the motor and the battery, call it fully assembled, and you're good to go.
Right. So it's
and of
mostly
course,
made
that
in
was
Fremont.
only for the X and the S, right? That was
Only S and X, yeah.
Right.
Model 3 came over in one piece, or is now coming from China. Still doing both, but they never came from Tilburg.
So yeah, I'm not sure how the refresh made this not as viable as it used to be.
Oh, because the Giga press on the X and the S, at least on the rear, if not the whole front.
Right, but so it must they must require more than just sticking in the European headlights.
Right. Yeah, because the way that Tesla phrased it, their response about it is it's no longer feasible or possible.
Oh, right. That's too bad for
Yeah.
the. How many people did you say work there? 90, 92. So it's not a huge number, but if you're one of those, folks, it sucks for you. And
right, if you can't take
hopefully the
offer.
Yeah, hopefully you can move to Berlin and have some raves in the party room there.
Right. All right. The article we have doesn't say. It just says how big it is. And it opened in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah. But hopefully it works out for everybody, that they can take those other offers. Maybe they can do some, work from home, like become remote service technicians or something, or move to Berlin. Those remote service technicians do some good work, I tell you what.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have a Model X that's being used by the mobile fleet around here now, which that's
nice.
I saw that first time this week. I thought if they were using Teslas, S's. They were all S's. Yeah, so the X makes a lot more sense from the beginning,
but I've never. It does. They've had X from the beginning, and I've never seen them. And a lot of the techs that get a choice actually choose the S over the X.
Huh.
I don't know. Once the seats are out of the X, it has more room than the S. No matter if they were the pretty seats or the ones like I have that fold over.
Yeah.
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 Well, another story to touch upon. Patrick's got our next one about the Chinese.
I know. The doors in a parking garage might have part to do with it.
Oh.
And it does that Mother Goose thing.
Yeah.
It's probably a little harder to go under and get your parts out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So our next one is a story, or as I would call this, a non-story. Tesla cameras raise concerns in China on military and with government employees are now banned from bringing them onto military bases. And this is not a problem unique to Tesla. There are many cars now coming with cameras in them. And in fact, a lot of smart devices are being banned now. People were wearing Fitbits and running around the base and then uploading their data. In some of these have social media aspects to them. So you were able to see the routes that they were running, which gave you information about potentially where troops were and where their tracks were and other things. So what they're going to be doing now is having certain sections of where housing is at, where they might be allowed, or where you can park them near there, and then they have shuttles that'll take you. So they're still not totally banned, but they're certainly controlled, and that's the important part. And so the whole this was, I think, blown out of proportion in a lot of ways about. Oh no, the Chinese military doesn't like them. That means the China government doesn't like them. That means Tesla's going to get kicked out of China. No, none of that is true. So let's put it in perspective of militaries don't want cameras that they don't control recording around their base. That makes perfect sense. So when you go onto the base proper, you're going in vehicles that they've authorized, shuttles, buses, troop carriers, whatever they are, not in Teslas. And that makes perfect sense. There you go. That's the non-story story with the cameras in China.
But of course, if that's a new shuttle bus, it may have its own camera.
This is true. I wonder if we'll see bans on Xpeng and BYD, etc., over here.
Well, what was interesting is
we would have a couple of months ago.
Is we're, of course, all heading down this road, and we have been for quite some time, where really our personal information of where we are and what we're doing is being collected from other companies already. Our phones, for example, Google, Apple, they all have this information. In fact, the New York Times did an article where they took publicly available information, and they were able to trace people's movements, track them right to their homes, and indicate that, this group of people, we know where they work, that we know where they travel to, we know where they reside, we know the timetables. All that's available publicly right now. And this is another extension of that. And it's not just Tesla. All the automakers are now installing cameras and sensors. And this is an ongoing trend because it gives us the convenience of having new features like autopilot and the ability to see 360 view, bird's eye view of where the car is parking, and all these nice little features that we like. These bits of privacy are being given up.
Yes.
It just depends on the companies that are collecting the data as to whether or not they share it or whether or not they keep it internally or what they do with it. But
I've even heard of investors or hedge funds or shorters who are collecting data about how many people are going into certain businesses, like how many people are going into Walgreens around the world, or Home Depots around the world, or whatever. And then before the quarterly numbers come out, placing bets based on the data that they've collected.
Yeah, and we see this like with every car. Like my 2012 Chevy Volt had a single camera facing forward. It was black and white, and it would look for lane lines. At least that was the reason it was there, was to look for lane lines and let you know. It'd beep at you if you were running out of lanes. And then if you could see a large change in the shape of an object in front of you, it also beep at you. But it could have been hijacked for more.
Right, or all these cars are soon going to be connected, which means they could be hacked. And maybe not for, maybe they're just collecting that data and not like, taking over the steering wheel or applying your accelerator or brakes, but just collecting data through a hack, through a backdoor, and using that, oh, you've gone into some sensitive area. Let me send that data and see if I can sell it or use it in some way.
And this is why Tesla developed their cybersecurity division the way that they did. They secured some key personnel from Apple and other places in the industry, and they immediately had to shut down and make sure everything was encrypted and proper secure code practices. And then after that, they were allowed to continue with the software updates. Any automaker that's getting into this that is not buying like black box stuff that's like already ready to go, already tested, they're going to need their own cybersecurity divisions. We saw Chrysler a couple times get hacked. We saw several other vehicles literally get hacked, where thankfully nothing terrible happened with it, but there were people in the car. Like they with the demo they used was where they could steer the Jeep into a ditch. They did it for demos, but they didn't actually do it to any actual people. Right.
Tesla has been taking their cars to hackathons for almost a decade now, offering great prizes, have bug bounties, and the coolest thing about that was, so I was watching some presentation from some hackers, and they said, oh yeah, we've broken into several different cars. We broke into a Tesla, and we emailed them and told them, and they did something that no other company has done, and it was scary.
And they fixed it.
Yeah, instead of sending lawyers to tell us to cease and desist, they sent engineers that said, how did you do that?
Yeah. We interviewed one on What Drives Us a couple months ago.
Cool.
Yeah. It was a year ago now. Time is all melded together.
Yeah.
Quite some time ago, yeah.
But that's what I like about the way that Tesla does it, and the rest of the industry is going to need to be able to do that, even if they are just buying off-the-shelf components, unless the whole vehicle network is the component. But they're not going to do that because that's giving up too much control, so they need their own cybersecurity, just like this.
Right. Well, with that, wanted to let you know, if you're watching this program right now, we'd love you to give us a thumbs up, and that would help us in the algorithm of YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed already, please press that subscribe. It's free. It helps us out, and we would appreciate that as well. Also, our good friend Casey here has provided us with the ability to publish the show audio version on Apple Podcasts, so you can find it there. And sure, if you're going to download that, you may as well give us 5 stars while you're at it. And that helps us all the way around. Also, through the week, if you want to find out what we're up to, what we have found through the week, you can follow us on our Twitter feed at The Tesla Life, and also our Facebook page, The Tesla Life #1, and Patrick controls that and gets us our news in that form. We appreciate that, Patrick. And on top of that, I thought I'd share a picture from the week that we got here, which was kind of cool. Let's just see if we can get to the right area to share it. And this, of course, is off the Twitter feed. And this, of course, is the maximum key fob that's now available inside the Tesla store, where you can, if you always lose that key fob, can't find it in your pocket, keep forgetting it someplace, mounting it to the top of your car is the surest way for it to always be in the right place at the right time.
Are you sharing a picture?
I am.
If you haven't hit the share button.
Whoops. Well, then, let's see. Bingo. Let's see.
There it is.
joke would have worked better with a picture, right?
Yeah, that is one big key fob.
I like it.
Exactly.
It looks more Model X than Model S or Model Y.
Well, it's and it's under it's over top of a Model Y. So
yeah,
very good.
Yeah, and I say that because of the way that they did the windows on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, here's another thing that we can talk about. The Maryland Supercharger. Now, Casey, you're in the Maryland kind of area.
I go to Maryland sometimes.
Are you familiar with the Supercharger that was schmucked?
What was the name of it?
I don't know. Let me see if I can.
We might as well share the picture too.
Yeah, I'm going to share that picture. And this time we will get the picture shared.
Picture sharing. It looks familiar. Let's see. Read more. And
whoever hit it left a little note as to who they might have been. Because you can notice with the arrow pointing to the ground that there's a Honda sticker or a Honda emblem from the back of a car or truck that's sitting on the ground. And
the Honda bump.
As soon as we posted this, we got a number of Honda bump hashtags on our Twitter feed.
Yes, I like the Wham Bam channel as well.
Yes, Wham Bam Tesla Cam. That's
I used to be a Honda guy, and so that stung a little bit, but I got used to it because.
Well, this isn't saying that all Honda drivers are horrible.
Exactly, not all Honda drivers. It's just all the ones we catch on video.
Yes, just a slightly larger percentage than normal.
Them and Prius drivers. Which also hurt because I used to be a Prius driver.
Now, I wonder at this particular Supercharger if the bullards were not in the standard places that they usually are. Because you'll notice at Tesla Superchargers that the red bullards are typically in an area to protect the Superchargers. And this one, of course, has a yellow one. It's off a little bit far. They're not showing obviously where the other one is beside it. But
it's like they were only protecting the sign and not the station.
Didn't do as good of a job as it could have been if it was a little closer to the actual unit.
And you see that
but the unit's on the sidewalk.
Yes, maybe that's what they were thinking. But you see that black piece underneath the Honda sign. That means it's a V3 supercharger. That's a radiator and fan combo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's extra bad.
So this, of course, leads us down the road. I don't know how many superchargers are damaged throughout the year. We obviously don't get any type of information on that. We just get the few sensational photos that are sent in every once in a while through social media. But I guess the question is if this happens quite a bit, it would, with Tesla talking about they wanted to install Wi-Fi at superchargers as time went along. Yeah. Certainly, adding a 360 camera will probably be a good idea as well. If they're going to add their own Wi-Fi, you may as well have a device there that's showing you a video of what's going on at these locations 24/7.
Yep, and then you can run a plate reader on a Raspberry Pi these days. So just snag every plate, and then if you see the plate happen to run into one of your machines,
right?
And Wham Bam Tesla Cam can have a spin-off channel, Wham Bam Supercharger Cam.
Yeah, I'm used to seeing them doing the lean in the grass. So I don't typically see them smashed up on a sidewalk.
Yeah, well, that's the nice thing about the way superchargers are set up. There's usually at least 4, more like 6, 8, 12 at any location. And so, I mean, these things happen.
And that's not the expensive bit. Had that been a typical DC fast charger, that would have been the expensive part. And your outage would be way longer.
Right. Yeah. The big expensive parts are over in that behind that fenced area, and so.
And sometimes it still works in that condition.
Oh wow! Mm-hmm. I would not grab one of these.
It's not my first choice, but I've done it before.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it does a safety check. So like, I was literally it's like I pulled in behind 6 people, and it's like, do I want to wait or do I want to see if it checks out safe? And it checked out safe, and I got like a half-speed charge. I was like, all right. Somebody came in, I unplugged and moved on to a good one.
The lawyer's calling. He's saying, "Don't listen to Casey."
At your own risk. At your own risk. But it does do a ground check.
Oh no! Yeah, do not take advice from this show whatsoever. Yeah.
We're not lawyers. We're not safety experts. We're not stock advisors.
No, we're not safety
Just having
advisors
some
either.
fun.
Obviously.
It wasn't raining. If it was raining, I would have thought twice. Because then it's not sealed anymore.
Oh my goodness. Well, with that, our next story is a little bit about Ford spokesman throwing some shade on full self-driving.
Yes.
This was a bit of a Twitter battle where between a Ford spokesman, an official spokesman for Ford, as well as Ross
Gerber.
And Ross is
and my friends of all
obviously
people.
and Ross is certainly a pro-Tesla person, has been for years, is well known in the investor community as well. And this Ford spokesman basically threw some shade saying that, FSD was vaporware at this point. And Ross has no reason to compare a Ford Mach-E with the Tesla Model Y. That there should be no comparison because they don't compare. And I was thinking, okay, well, they do compare pretty well. They're in the same segment, I would say, very close.
Similar price, similar range, similar power.
And, yeah, there's a lot of things to compare on. This might have just been a battle on Twitter that just got out of hand. But what do you guys think about the FSD statement, which obviously was the one that the media picked up on, it being vaporware?
So I caught this part, but I didn't realize that all of this had actually started when a buddy of mine who actually bought himself a baby blue Mach-E, he was saying that it was a good car, and he has a Model X as well. This was when Ross jumped in, and that's when Ford jumped in on Ross because the Ford guy was actually defending one of his customers. I didn't see that part, and after I talked to him a bit about the backstory, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. I mean, one, is good that they had the back of their customer, and two, it's really bad that this thing blew up so much.
Even if you want to back your customer, and if someone has bought a Mach-E and they enjoy it, more power to them.
Yeah.
We way too often get into this Tesla killer discussion, and that's just not what it is. There's a huge car market out there. Every EV that is purchased is one fewer gas car on the road, and that's great.
Exactly.
And if you want a car where you're the one behind the wheel, taking that corner and doing whatever, great. If you want a car that has full self-driving, that's great too, if you buy one that has that. And it's not like everybody who buys a Tesla buys it for that reason. There are certainly people who don't buy the FSD package. So for him to call it vaporware is BS, because you can try it out now. You can see what capabilities it has, and if you think that's worth it, make that choice with your money. And nobody from Ford can tell me that that's vaporware or crap. Or I know exactly what it does. I know what capabilities it has, and it's really cool. So yes, it can't drive itself today, and I can go take a nap in the back seat. But that day's coming, whenever. And I get to be part of that development process. So it's to each their own, and we don't have to bicker over this stuff. And it's really sad to see someone who, one, Ross Gerber, a professional investor, and two, this guy who is Mike Levine, a professional representative of Ford, bickering like 12-year-old boys on Twitter is ridiculous.
And coming after just random end customers. I mean, it would be one thing if it was a Ford executive and he jumped on that. You should leave private people out of it, even if they are on Twitter. The other point I brought up at the time, and I'm not sure if it's true anymore because I've found a lot of false information about the Mach-E, their system right now only does auto steer type stuff, right? It doesn't do the full what they promised with the eye tracking and all that, right?
Oh, I have no idea what ADAS capabilities they have.
Yeah, I'm not sure at launch.
It'd be even funnier if they're saying vaporware and they don't live up to what they've promised. That's even worse.
Because from what I understand right now, the only one that even comes close to this panacea is the Super Cruise, and that's only on specific roads. And you guys still look ahead, and I think you have to tell it to change lanes. It doesn't change lanes on its own. Exactly, the Super Cruise is not Ford.
And a quick shout out to Simon, who took this photo up here in at University of Waterloo, or close to the University of Waterloo campus, because Ford actually has a incubator program up here where they work on the UI design of the Mach-E and other vehicles. So there's a couple of Mach-Es that were sitting up here, and we got this. He got this great photo comparing the Y to the Mach-E.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Next, there was another story about. Oh yes, we're going to skip the next one and go on to Elon confirming about the 7-seat Model S. Oh, okay. So the speculation that we had seen from previous Twitter pictures was that that group of refreshed Model S's, some of them appeared to have a back seat in place again. And Elon, in a quote earlier this week from Twitter, indicated that yes, the Model S will have the ability to be a 7-seater again. And it will be a rear-facing 7-seater. And but the seats will be much more plush and comfortable, according to some sources that had indicated that the jump seat was more of a stiffer type of seat.
It was a
I
baby
never sat
seat.
in one. It was more of a kid's seat in the first place, but apparently it wasn't as paddy as it could be. And this particular new version is going to have a better padding in the seat for the rear-facing too.
Hopefully, this time nobody gets approached by the police for putting children in their trunk.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen again. I guarantee you, it's gonna happen again.
That's ridiculous. Come on. But it has happened, and you're right, Casey. It probably will happen again.
Well, do you guys remember when the Model 3 first rolled out and the policeman pulled over a gentleman for having a laptop
computer
open on his dash?
You can't use an iPad while you're driving, sir.
And then proceeded to ask him to remove it. And the guy was going, how do I remove it? It's bolted to the dash.
And then where do I look for speed?
So I can almost guarantee it's going to happen again, based just on that.
Yeah.
I mean, because how long has it been since we last had a jump seat in a station wagon? What, over 40 years now, right?
It's been a long time. Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, other than Tesla's previous version of it. Yeah, so it's quite a while.
But that wasn't a very common.
No. The volume of Model S back then was pretty low. Taking the jump seat option was only a small percentage of that. So yeah, given that a small piece of a small piece, that was not very common.
Yeah. Oh no, it was $3,500 for that rear seat. I remember now.
Wow.
On top of what you already spent on the car.
Just buy an X if that's what you want.
Well, the X they canceled it before the X came out. But I wonder if the X is why they canceled it.
Yeah, and I meant now. I mean, with this new offer.
Oh, absolutely now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want 7 seats, get the X.
I wonder how much they'll charge this time around. Will it still be $35? Because that's kind of what they charge for the 6-seat Model X.
Interesting.
Well, there's a big difference between the 5-seat and the 7-seat Model Y.
Oh, yes.
Could be. Yeah.
But that one doesn't have a rear compressor, does it? Like the X does.
I don't know.
Because part of your price on the X for the 7 and 6 is you're paying for that rear compressor.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, let's move on to our last story. Patrick has it on currency. New type of currency.
That's right. Tesla launches Bitcoin payment for vehicle orders in the U.S. Other territories to follow. So this story is by Simon Alvarez on Teslarati. And we knew this was coming. Musk had said when they announced that they were buying 2% of their money as Bitcoin of their funds on hand that they were going to keep in reserve, whatever it was, 1.92 billion. Or this is rounded off to 2 billion, and so now they're going to take this and this article here, the example they show is for the $100 non-refundable order fee. And I'm not sure if that's all they're allowing right now, or if you can actually pay for the entire car with it. That was not clear to me from the story or from the tweets that have. There's a ton of people tweeting this out, and if you follow us on the Tesla Life, our Facebook feed, we published this last night with some of the first pictures that came out showing this. So this is exciting times. Tesla has said that any Bitcoin they receive through this payment, they're just going to hold. They're not going to convert it into fiat. So that's an interesting way for them to slowly get more Bitcoin over time. And it makes a lot of sense to me. There's, over the last 5 years, a lot of people have made a lot of money on Bitcoin. And some of them might want to spend that getting a Tesla. So anything you can do to make that easy for your customers to buy your product, you as a business should be thinking about doing that.
Yeah. Well, they did say initially that they would not take full payment for a car in Bitcoin.
Right.
But they didn't tell us what percentage they would take either. So we don't know. All we know is you can't buy the entire car. You can buy a portion of it, but we don't know what that portion is yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Now we know it's 100% of the non-refundable deposit, though.
Yeah.
In the U.S.
Yeah. So they'll be rolling this out to other regions, they say, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes along, and if it goes beyond just the deposit, because if Tesla's using this as a bit of a saving feature as well on money that they have in the bank, the investment in Bitcoin certainly has been working out for them so far.
That's true. Yeah, they've made quite a bit on that investment. So anybody who was like, "Oh, this is ridiculous," and was crazy with them, maybe not so much. And the fact that they're holding it, so the volatility doesn't really matter as long as the general trend is in the right direction. Any days up down is not relevant.
Or that it's higher than when they got it, when they do let it go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, gentlemen, great show. Let's move along to shoutouts. Patrick, any updates for the group out there?
So last week I said something like, "Oh, I came really close on St. Patrick's Day to having my first net energy positive day because the sun's coming out at springtime." So I went back and looked through the logs and found out that no, I had one on the 12th, and so I've got the solar charts there, when the battery was in use, when it was being charged and discharged, and how much energy we made that day. And that's my latest blog post on carswithcords.net. And it's so cool that we're getting more sunlight, and it's only going to get more and more positive throughout the summer, which is really awesome. And you can I'm also with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And I don't want to leave without saying to my friends here, I am here to bring in a future free from fossil fuels.
Absolutely.
Snuck it in right at the end.
Yep.
Fantastic. And one of the things you've had solar for a long time, Patrick. Casey, you've had solar for a long time as well. But
yes.
you can tell us that the most efficient time for solar is typically the spring, is it not?
Yes.
Right.
Because you lose efficiency in the heat.
Exactly. Yeah, so sunny and cool days are the best.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you've got some great energy collection days coming up. Getting all lined up for you.
Yeah.
Very good.
We just got done fighting our local utility. Actually, it's local to me here and there. They're trying to charge us per month, like $19 for connection, and then like $6 per panel. Don't quote me on the exact numbers. And my argument was, I don't even produce 100% from my panels if they were getting 100%, because my inverters are smaller than the panels. This is some bogus stuff, and hopefully the utility commission down there agrees with us.
Wow, that's just lame that they're trying to jerk you around like that. And things like that make people want to just go off grid and not have to deal with it.
That's what I warned them. I said, if you do this crap, and then we pull the plug because it became too expensive, and then you're going to say that this is expensive because all the solar people left.
Right.
Yeah, they're really forcing themselves into that corner, are they not? When they start taxing the system over and over, at some point people are going to say, you know what? I'm just going to buy a couple of Tesla Powerwalls and plug into my own system and leave the utility hook, line, and sinker. I'm not going to pay the fees anymore. So
I told the utility lawyer, I said, look, during my highest output is also the hottest part of the day, so all of my excess that I haven't put into my own air conditioner goes to both next door neighbors and across the street and runs their air conditioners, and then there's nothing to hit the rest of the grid.
Right. It actually really reduces the burden on the local transformers. Yeah. You're right.
And the transformer's in my yard, so
can't get
I'm
much
doing double
than
duty.
That.
Yeah.
Well, with that, Casey, any shout-outs this evening?
Yes, I did a bunch of videos over at youtube.com/CaseyGreen, and then like I said, I purchased that what Tesla calls the door popper and everybody else calls the icebreaker. We're going to do some videos on that, and we've got coming up obviously some more Tesla software updates. We did not get the button, so that will be next whenever Elon sees fit to grace us with it.
Yeah, we should have covered that. Just to be real quick, so the full self-driving beta, there was a lot of us who want to get into it, and we had been promised that there would be a download button within 10 days. That got delayed, and now it's probably next month.
Yep.
Yeah, they pushed it out to version 9, right? They're saying they have enough for version 8. It's really not. It's really not going to be necessary to have anybody else other than the 2,000 that are currently on it. And,
not even them.
Version 9.
Half of them haven't got the download yet. They're just in line.
Oh, they're just even in line. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. They're making changes, getting rid of radar, putting more on the cameras. So they need the data for 9, not earlier.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to give a shout out to everybody in chat. It's been pretty lively today, which was a blast.
Fantastic. All right. Well, with that, we'll roll the end credits and music. We want to thank Lee Moon for helping us out with that music. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up. This is your last chance. Also, give us a subscribe if you haven't, and we will see you next week and find out what's going on in the Tesla life.
Stay positive. Test negative.
Good night, everyone.